What is going on, guys? Welcome back to, I was going to say Uncensored Finance. Welcome back to Not Financial Advice. This is episode 18, and it is just Koopy and I today.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm joined by my fellow host,
Your co-host.
Koopy J. Calder.
Yeah.
And today is episode 18. Like I said, Toby is not here because he is out of town.
I think a hand was out of frame, but yeah.
Oh, whoopsie. Anyway, he's not here. And so, it's just Cooper and I today. And it should be fun. And I hope there's not any background noise in the background. Bed Bath & Beyond got turned into a meme stock. And it's quite interesting. Very similar thing that happened to GameStop and like BlackBerry and Nokia. Nokia, whatever. Same thing happened very recently. So basically, Wall Street Bets kind of, in a sense, pumped Bed Bath & Beyond. If you don't know what that is, it's kind of like a bed and bath company. They just sell like towels and shit. And anyway, basically, the chairman of GameStop was like, guys, I bought 10% of Bed Bath & Beyond in like call options. Yes. And basically, that got released. And everyone and like everywhere was just like, oh guys, let's pump the stock because they seem to want to do that all the time.
Yeah.
And then from its July low, it pumped 400%, but within like this past week, it went up 70% and then dropped a lot because that's what usually happens with meme stocks. And basically, everyone lost their shit. Everyone was like, let's buy this up, even though it's not a very smart investment. And now Ryan Cohen, the guy who, the chairman of GameStop and the guy who bought 10%, he exited his position at the peak and it dropped 50% after that. Like that's how it dropped. It dropped 50%. Now the SEC is on his balls trying to take his money because that is not good.
Because it's illegal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright. Fair enough.
And no, it's very interesting how like certain individuals in the whole investment space have so much control over the market, like being able to sway it. Like Elon Musk.
Well, it's not just like that space. It's just like really anyone with any respect that's like well known. Like Kanye could be like, oh yeah, I'm doing whatever it is, and then like I'm buying whatever stock, and then people would be like, oh yeah, I should buy it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, especially like with Elon Musk and like this is like what it kind of reminds me of, like Elon Musk and Dogecoin. It was just like, oh guys, we buy a Tesla with Dogecoin, and everyone just bought up.
Yeah.
But it's not really a safe investment. So I think that can be risky for like some amount of investors who don't really know what they're doing. But very interesting. And now trading has been halted for Bed Bath & Beyond on most platforms. So, sucks to suck, I guess. And yeah, they're kind of probably leading to bankrupt. What's your topic, Cooper?
One of the Ethereum testnets moved to proof of stake.
Oh shit, really?
Yeah. So it doesn't mean anything to most people, but it was the Ropsten testnet, and it was without any major issues. In like the real world, right? I'd say the vast majority of purchases that anyone makes is under $100, right? But if you try to make a purchase with Ethereum that's under $100, you're going to pay shitloads of gas. So it's like not really viable unless, you're making a big purchase. But when it's with proof of stake and there's a lot less like gas fees, like if any, then it actually makes it like a viable option, like
to
in the
invest
real world.
Smaller amounts.
Yeah, to invest smaller amounts and to actually use like, say it's like, oh, I want to buy whatever it is. Like I want to buy a game with it, for instance. It's like it would actually be like, reasonable to spend that much because you're not spending like double the amount just for gas.
Yeah, and that's because proof of stake. I'm not. We've kind of talked about this in
but now they've actually done it. So
they proof of stake is basically like a lot cleaner, like environmentally, and it's a lot cheaper to run.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very good sign for Ethereum because they kind of delayed like this whole like Ethereum 2.0. And
I think it was meant to be later. It was meant to be like September or November, and it's not fully done. Yeah,
they initially said it was going to come out, I think like earlier, like 2022, but they've just been pushing it back, which I mean is not really a problem. Like you much rather
you don't want to fuck it up.
yeah, you much rather have like a product that's late that's actually like good quality
that works
than something that's rushed and shit. So I mean that's a very good sign for Ethereum, and I'm holding on to my Ethereum too.
Yeah,
I just gotta get out
even
of
though
all
it's
my,
down like 12% today.
I just gotta get out of all my shitty NFTs.
It's literally down 12% in the day of recording, which is the 19th to the 20th.
Really? Why?
Yeah, I don't know. It went from like 27 to 2400 or something.
Is that AUD?
Yeah.
That is not good. Buy the dip, guys. No, this is not. Oh yeah, we have to start saying that. Anything we say is not legal advice. Is not financial advice. That's the name of the podcast. But it's also like, seriously, don't invest on what we say because we are stupid and we are just zero knowledge.
Speak to yourself. I'm up 10% in Ethereum.
And one thing I did want to talk about, I feel like everyone has kind of been like slightly suspecting this, but this is actually no. Before we get into that, Cooper, what happened to your eyebrow?
I got into a fight. No. I just need myself really hard, but that's not. It's not finance. It's not nothing to do with finance, is it? So
wait, go on. They're very interested. They're like, whoa, Cooper, you have stitches in your face. What's going on?
Which you can't even see from the camera.
Yeah.
So I was doing like the most basic gymnastic activity. I did a forward roll down a foam wedge, right? And I went a little bit too fast, and my knee hit my head very hard, and it started bleeding everywhere, and it was a big commotion.
I feel like I should throw up like the photos of.
They'll
probably get like our account banned, but
don't make it a clip because it's a useless clip. But yeah, if anyone's watching, we'll put a photo of that.
Yeah.
A less gory one.
Blood
everywhere.
It was quite funny though. There was blood everywhere, and his entire
hilarious.
like eyebrow was like open.
Yeah.
And like, I took him to like the sick bay.
Yeah.
And like we're kind of laying there, we're like taking photos. Like we have a photo of him like that.
Yeah.
And you can see his skull. I don't think you probably couldn't see
That
it.
is such
No. When they took off the thing, you could like away from the like the fat and all the skin and stuff, you can see like
that is such
like
cap.
the red and the fat of your skull, which was very cool.
Yeah.
But onto my topic. Basically, very interesting. TikTok is kind of rivaling Google. And I mean, a lot of people think of TikTok as like, oh, you know, kids dancing, and that's kind of it's not really the sentiment anymore, but now it's kind of turning into a search engine.
Yeah.
And they're kind of starting to rival Google. Because one thing that's very interesting, right, is like TikTok, like I see this a lot, and even like I do this, when people are like, oh, like where's a good cafe, like let's say in Sydney, like where's a good cafe in the CBD? You don't go to Google anymore, you go on TikTok.
What?
Because there was a study done very recently, and it was 70% of people, when asked to like go to a local shop or something, they will go to TikTok and find the best spot there compared to just searching it up on Google.
Really?
And it's very interesting because
I've never even thought to do that.
Yeah, it's because like I feel like you could kind of seen this coming, but like let's say on like Instagram or something, when you put something in a search bar, it only comes up with like an account or like a relevant tag.
Yeah.
But on TikTok, it scans all the captions, all the accounts and everything. So if you put on like how to invest in the stock market, it's not going to come up with like some stock account. It'll come up with 30 videos of people on TikTok saying, here's how you invest in the stock market.
Yeah.
And I feel like people are going to use TikTok a lot more because it's more personable compared to just finding some random BuzzFeed article on Google. Like when you put it on TikTok, there's people's faces and people's accounts, and it's more like people feel like more
accountable for like what they've done.
Yeah. And
so it's like if you're fucking scamming people, it's like you say someone's like made a scam of whatever. Or like a fake website or whatever on Google, there's no accountability. It's like, oh, I don't feel bad. But if you're lying to people and you're showing your face and probably eventually your name, it's like you feel a lot more like, I don't want to lie to people and ruin my reputation kind of thing. And
I think it's kind of the same on the inverse. People are making like content, right? It's very smart because TikTok is now on the stage where you can get organic traffic. Like let's say for Instagram, if you want to actually build like an account, like a following, you either stick and post consistently for 2 years or you pay money. Yeah. But TikTok is still in that organic phase where you can put up a video, and if it's actually good quality and people like it and comment and stuff, it'll actually get views. And so I think that kind of worked hand in hand with the whole search engine idea. That's kind of incentivizing creators to, you know, talk about stuff, and that kind of gets pushed, which like their video gets pushed, which kind of incentivizes them to post more, and it's kind of like an ever ending loop.
Yeah.
It's very interesting, but I kind of hope TikTok doesn't really go to that whole
Yeah.
pay to get views stage.
And I know this is like a really talked about point, but I don't really like the idea of a Chinese company like ruling. I know like a lot of companies already are like, you know, primarily owned by like Chinese. And this isn't a racist statement. This is just based on like their government and like their actual I guess economy, but I was just gonna say government again, like how their politics work and stuff. So it's just like you don't really want people like that ruling, like basically ruling your world. Like if they own apps like TikTok, you know, eventually like, and like even in Australia, you see Chinese companies like buying out like big companies, like big cattle stations, like in the Northern Territory. Like I think there was a thing like they're buying roads in Victoria as well. Yeah. And it's just like you don't really want to have a communist country buying into like a democracy. Yeah, it's like kind basically owning it.
It is very concerning. Oh, sorry.
No, that's it.
I think like kind of on that topic, it was kind of a big issue in like Australia. If you're not really in Australia, you know, you probably won't really care. But yo guys, this is Yusuf in the future. I'm just editing, and I said 10% of China owns Australia. It's actually 2%. A lot of stuff has changed, but officially it is 2%. So don't be dumb. I think it was 10% of Australian land, like all of Australia. We're a very big country. 10% of that land is owned by China, and basically what'll happen is like very wealthy Chinese families would come and just buy up shit tons of land and essentially sell it back to the government. Because if the Chinese government is coming to Australia and being like, "Hey guys, we want to buy your land," it's like, it's a bit suspicious. But it's like,
but when it's just rich people, it's like,
it's very interesting. And I even like this was a while ago, but I kind of saw a post, and it was like, I think it was in Darwin, an entire like harbor, like an entire bay was just owned by like several different Chinese companies that all had the same parent company. Yeah. And it was like all these like big like import and exporting like sites were just owned by like Chinese government, and it is a big concern. But realistically, I don't think that's like is not really gonna be,
because it's like
a problem.
Like when you look at it from like the Chinese perspective, right? Like geographically and politically. I know this is really off topic, but it's like geographically really hard to invade Australia like by force, right? Like you've got a big ocean to cross. We have tons, like not geographically speaking, but we have heaps of allies. We have a pretty good military. Like it's just a massive pain in the ass. But if you just want to buy everything because you're rich, like, you know, a superpower, it's like a lot easier. And considering we're pretty much as big as the US, like, in terms of like, sorry,
like
as big as the US and like actual size, it's like, you know, it would be pretty easy to just buy it out. And considering we have so many natural resources, and just space, it's like, you know, it's pretty easy. Like it would be pretty easy for them. And it's just not what you want. Really.
But I mean, there probably is something going on like off the side, because like I don't think the Australian government would really be like, we'll just let like all these like Chinese like the Chinese government and Chinese families just buy up so much land. There probably is like something going on behind the scenes that like no one knows about, because that's what, you know, usually happens.
I mean, just to cut you off, there's a lot of corruption in our government as well, though. So you never know.
That is true.
Like people would like say like the you know, like the, what are they named? Like the CEOs and stuff of oil companies, would, you know, like if they cared about, you know, being less corrupt and like just cared about like the environment and stuff, they would shut the company down in a heartbeat. Yeah. But they don't. And it's the same as politics. It's like people want money more than they want for like the future of their country. You know.
Sorry, my little brother is standing at the window,
smushing his face into it.
Oh, and now his friend is here. Smush your face too.
Yeah.
Right off. I don't think that's a problem, but it is still very interesting. Like all this like kind of like geographical like politic type thing. I'm quite interested in it.
Yeah.
And I know like a very big YouTuber like Jake Tran.
Yeah.
He kind of goes into like these like government conspiracy, like all this stuff, and it's I'm kind of very interested in it.
Yeah.
And I think it's just something cool to think about.
Mm.
But your topic, you go.
Well, kind of what I was going off earlier, like sort of similarly. Like, so there was, the bank Wells Fargo.
Yeah.
They released a statement. That's so gross, Yusuf. They released a statement saying digital assets are an innovation on par with the internet, cars, and electricity. And that's like a bank, right? So it's like, it's not really what you'd see very often when it's like digital assets, talking of like Web3, when the entire bank's success is based off of,
like
fiat
real
currency.
estate and
Fiat, like real estate and stuff, and not anything Web3 based. So yeah, it's a big statement, and I was just going off like the ETH thing, like how the like testnet moved to POS, and it's just like kind of showing more real world like utility, just in that space,
Yeah, I was I don't know if you guys watch this, if you guys watch it, but I was watching the Impulsive podcast, and they had what's it? Shark Tank. Kevin O'Leary. They had Kevin O'Leary on, and I was like, oh, Kevin O'Leary, pretty big guy.
Yeah.
And one thing he was kind of talking about was that all the big banks and stuff, they kind of thought crypto and like Web3 space as a whole was a joke. They kind of thought of it as a joke. But he said he would go to like all these like Web3 conventions, like what was it, NFT, like New York, and like all these big conferences, and he would see all the managers of big banks and stuff, and he was just like, this is like, it's very interesting. Like, it's a very interesting sign that like all these big, like there's going to be like federal backing of blockchain like technology. And I think like as of now, I feel like we are still too early to like shift to like completely blockchain, because like technology is not there and people just don't believe yet, and no one really is educated about it.
Also, no one really wants, like, say the Australian dollar, it's around 70 cents.
To USD.
To USD, right? So, and I know like there's a lot of arguments against fiat currency anyway, but you don't really want, like, say we use Ethereum as like your like the equivalent of a fiat currency, like that's what everyone uses. You don't really want your currency fluctuating 15% in a day, or like 30% over a month.
Yeah.
It's a bit like it's on the like annoyance part, or like hyperinflation. Like it's just as annoying as that. Like say with hyperinflation, like I think it was in Poland, it was somewhere in Africa that happened as well. And it's like the money you make today, you could buy bread with that today, and tomorrow it would be worth absolutely nothing.
Like after World War II and stuff.
Yeah. So that was in Poland after World War II, and it's just like it wouldn't be like that bad. But it's like, say you've saved up, oh yeah, I can get a PC now, and now it's like, no, you can't. Yeah, like because it's just dropped.
Everything is dropped.
However much overnight. You know?
I think that there still has to be more federal backing, more stability, especially because
definitely.
like kind of markets going like 30% up, 40% down like every year. That is a concern. I think there just needs to be more like trust, more stability, which is kind of like happening. And I think we will slowly start to see that shift, but it is it's a very interesting sign that we're kind of seeing all these big banks kind of saying like, wow, like digital, like Web3 is like something like what Web3 is on par to like real estate and like, real life assets.
No. Digital assets are an innovation on par with the internet and cars and electricity. Yeah. So that's more than like just
it's better
houses.
Yeah. And so that is a very interesting sign. And I think, because that's the thing, people like, Bitcoin is a scam and stuff, like whatever it may be, but it's like, it's the technology that's really important. Like, fuck if it's like titty coin or like whatever it is, like, Dogecoin or whatever. It's not about the coin. It's about like the technology it represents. And I think people can say like, like we get comments like this. People like, like you bought Ethereum, like you're going to lose all your money. It's like, okay, but I'm not investing to just profit like after a week. It's kind of I'm investing because the technology that's behind this sort of stuff is absolutely insane. Yeah. Like the whole like peer-to-peer lending, like all this shit, like anything like Web3 related, and even NFTs, there's this crazy like amounts of innovation. and I think it's kind of beating the markets. No one's prepared for that.
Yeah.
And like there is a lot of, bullshit going around, and like airy fairy people are like feeling it's unsafe and stuff. But long term, it's like very, very interesting.
That being said, like on Web3 security, there was like $718 million that was like stolen in major exploits just in Q2 of 2022.
Really?
So it was 1.48 billion since the start of the year.
Mm.
So and in Q2 that was 48 exploits, and it's not like you hear of bank robberies where they're stealing,
$718 million.
or double that.
Yeah.
Like in bank robberies, like this year, I don't know what it is, but it's probably considerably less than $1 billion.
Mm.
So it's like that's also another thing. Like there needs to be a lot more security on that platform.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like because you think like not one person, but like those robberies would have made a fair few like millionaires. Like would have set a fair few people for life.
Yeah.
Just from like exploits. And it's like something that it might have taken them a few months to set up.
Yeah.
And then they never need to work again.
Yeah.
Which is like probably something to think about when we're on the topic of like transferring like to the digital like world, I guess.
It is. I know this kind of it kind of seems like we're kind of not rambling, but we're kind of getting very sidetracked.
I mean, that was one of my topics.
Oh, well then,
yeah.
not really. But no, I think this kind of happens like as a world. Anytime there's any new piece of technology or anything, everyone is so quick to hate on it.
Yeah.
But long term, like that technology kind of wins. Like let's say internet, right? Like it kind of goes around. Like everyone with the internet was like, oh, it's bullshit. Oh, it's a scam. Like, oh, it's gonna fail. And that was like that's something that happened. Like, what was it? The whole .com bubble. Like that was like lots of people lost their money because there's so much hype and not enough regulation. But I think people are like forgetting the technology there. Like in that and at that point it was the internet. Like, oh, there's a .com bubble, there's all that, but the technology being the internet, like the fucking internet, is insane. And that's kind of the same thing that's kind of happening with blockchain technology.
I can think of a really good example for this, and it's when Edison used I can't remember which. So okay, so Nikola Tesla, right? I can't remember which one it was. I think it was
DC. It was DC.
No, he invented alternating, wasn't it?
No, so Thomas Edison did AC. Nikola Tesla did DC.
You sure?
I'm about 95% sure.
I'll just look that up quickly. But anyway, I can't look it up because you have no fucking internet.
On your phone?
Yeah, so either way, whichever one it was, Edison, because he was considerably richer, but that's besides the point. Can you look it up because I'm talking?
Sure.
Used Nikola Tesla's like version or invention of electricity, like his equivalent of it, which I think was safer.
Yeah.
Was it DC?
So Nikola Tesla invented AC and
yeah, so alternating current. Right, so alternating current's actually safer than direct current. Yeah. And anyway, Edison used alternating current to electrocute elephants in public to be like, oh yeah, this is way more dangerous when it's actually like, I think it was elephants. It was like some animal that you don't want to see die.
I think so.
But yeah,
sorry, like it was like exactly like that. Basically, like very very similar. Thomas Edison, he convinced the prison, right? They were going to
convince them to use like electricity.
They can like they were gonna kill an inmate, right? Death penalty. They convinced the like the prison to use AC, and they said AC is a lot more dangerous. Like it'll kill this guy.
Yeah, but
one thing that was really fucked because Thomas Edison, he was just trying to like dog Nikola Tesla. Like they didn't really like each other. He was kind of saying like AC is very.
Because he used to work for him.
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah. Like they were friends, but like whatever. I'm not really a historian. But so they used AC current, right? But one thing they did, they didn't turn up the voltage enough.
So it just tortured him.
So yeah, like they were like, oh, AC is so bad, but they just like the guy, he got shocked, and they did it. I think they held it for about like 30 seconds, and in the end, he didn't die.
Yeah.
And it was I think in the time seen as like one of the most inhumane like death penalty killings
Yeah.
because they just put this guy on like the brink of his life,
Yeah.
like just nearly killed him, and like all just to prove a point.
I think it was also because I think you're meant to have a wet sponge on your head, and they didn't. It was a dry sponge, so it just fried him.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, that
Like-
might have been a different story.
Yeah.
But it was that did happen with an electric chair. Anyway, off the gruesomeness of it. Yeah. So there's always stuff like that when there's new technology. Who knows if it'll actually pan out?
Yeah.
But there's a good chance it will. I'm saying like 70-80%.
And speaking of like Nikola Tesla, like the company, everyone like electric cars and stuff.
Yeah.
Like when Elon Musk did make Tesla, everyone was saying, "Oh, like we've already tried electric cars, it just doesn't work." And I think it was like for the first like 5-10 years, everyone was just kind of like shitting on it. But there was that small minority of people who was like, this is something very valuable and like something like that'll actually work. And like, look at Tesla now.
The first electric car was actually made like 100 years ago, right? Like ages ago.
Really?
Yeah. So it's not that well known. It was one of the Mythbuster episodes, not with the cool Mythbusters, with the loser Mythbusters.
Oh, like the two guys and the girl.
Yeah.
Oh.
But anyway, they made like there was an electric car, right? And it looked like the old race cars, like the old race cars with the thin wheels, and they're like sitting low down. And everyone else would have been there with like horses, right? Or like a kind of shitty car.
Yeah.
Either horses
like carriages.
Or yeah, like basically like carriages, right? And then this guy, he won the race like easily.
Yeah.
All right, but the brakes faded, so he just died. Like he crashed at the end because he couldn't slow down, and then it was kind of the end of that for a while. And when they remade it, the brakes faded again, and the guy like he got out of it because it was on a racetrack, so it just slowed down. But it was like still he got like pretty fast.
And that was like when they still had horses and shit.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So yeah, the original guy that made it died. And then it was just like, oh
yeah,
well, never gonna do it again.
We should fact check that, but
it is true.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
But also quickly, electric cars kind of a scam. Not really. Like in terms of gas prices, you know, if you have it for a long time and it stays good, then you know it's like financially a decent option. I think they need to be a bit cheaper, but anyway. But the thing is, lithium mines are still just as shit as having petroleum.
Yeah.
So it's like, unless everyone had infinite, like the batteries never wore out, right? And like every person had a set amount of lithium batteries, which neither of which are possible. Only then would it be like reasonable to do, and it's not because like lithium mines are still bad for the environment.
Yeah.
Like just as bad, if not worse, as like you know the what's it called, like oil rigs and petroleum. Like you know, to obtain that fuel, it's just as bad.
Yeah.
But it just looks cleaner because you don't need fuel to run the car. Like that's literally the only difference.
I was watching I don't know, I was at work and I was just like, I wonder how Tesla, like the battery pack, I was like, I wonder how they work.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to, like, because all of the schematics for the Tesla cars are public.
Yeah.
Because I think Elon Musk was kind of just like, this is like revolutionary technology.
Yeah.
It's very selfish of me to like privatize it and like keep it from like for the profit of Tesla. Like he said, the goal is to, you know, make a sustainable world. Like it's kind of selfish if he just kind of kept it like the
the technology to himself.
If he kept the tech to himself. So I was kind of just looking at the schematics and stuff. And the Tesla battery pack, I remember hearing about this, but it kind of hit me that a Tesla battery pack is basically just a big square filled with like tiny batteries.
Yeah.
And it's not actually like, you know, like AA batteries like from your fucking kitchen.
But they kind of look like
But it's like truly like because like the Tesla battery pack, it comes in like strips.
But yeah.
Yeah. Like they come in strips, and each like strip of battery packs is just like hundreds of little batteries stacked up and like wired and soldered to each other.
So like each other. When you see people like there's a video somewhere of this guy making an electric bike, right, which was actually a pretty good bike, but it like that's what it was. He got like a battery pack and soldered it all together.
Yeah,
and like that's literally all it was, just a bunch of little batteries, and that's it. Yeah, I mean, and even for lithium batteries for like remote control cars, they're just if you look inside it, I think they're called D batteries, but they're basically that size, right? and it's just like 5 of them, literally like vacuum sealed together.
Yeah.
Like that's it.
It's I know that's all cool shit, and there probably is a reason why they just don't make like giant batteries. Like they're probably like if they'd exploded,
because it takes too long for like it's to do with I know what it is. It's to do with like that it's less efficient because it's harder to get the energy out of it. If that makes sense, in the most simple terms, I can explain it.
Like it's easier to like charge and like drain the battery if it's like small little.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah. Like I know there's gonna be some guy that's gonna show me up, but that's like in the most simple terms, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Like.
Now that was a rant. That was that was a sidetrack. Hold on. Okay, this is something I want to talk about. It's not really something that like occurred in the market, but something I think is very interesting for people kind of starting out in the space. One thing you gotta like, this is kind of a skill you kind of learn the more you're in the space, but it's you just kind of gotta learn to filter out all the information and all the shit you hear, like a funnel, right? And I think, especially on the internet, especially on TikTok and on Instagram, you're flooded with so much information. And if you're in the finance space, most likely you're actually like all the content you see is finance related. So I think it's a very good skill that you kind of need to work on, is this sorting between all the shit that kind of you kind of see.
Yeah, for sure. And like not taking everything, not being like, oh, I've seen that. Because there's a lot of people, sorry to go into this, but there's so many people that they'll see something for the first time, like something on a topic, right? Say, I don't know, say that you see a video that says, oh yeah, powerlifting is better than bodybuilding, right? We were talking about this last night. But say you see a video on that, and then it's like, you're just going to think that. Like straight away, and it's just you're just like, oh yeah, and then if someone talks to you about it, you'll be like, no, I think it's better, and they'll start arguing just because you've seen this one take on it, rather than like actually doing any research. And like I'm guilty of this. I'm pretty sure pretty much everyone is.
Like you hear a belief and you kind of like, and
there's
truth.
nothing to like oppose it with, so you're just like, yeah, this is true. Especially if it's like powerlifting's better than bodybuilding because blah 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 blah. And there's no arguments for the other side, right? So it's just like, you know, you just believe it. And then when someone goes to say like, no, bodybuilding's better than powerlifting, it's just like, no, it's not. And then you list those reasons. Yeah. And so you get like really defensive over that. It's the same with Apple and Samsung users.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
That like Apple users will get defensive over it, whereas Samsung users just don't give a fuck. They're just like, no, it's cheaper. And it's just like better to like cheaper, the same or better quality. And Apple users are like, no, it's better, blah blah blah, and they'll just be like they'll get really angry about it.
I'm guilty of that, but
yeah,
I think it's they kind of parallel, but it's kind of like shiny object syndrome. Yeah, that's kind of like it's kind of a made up term, but it's kind of especially when you are studying the space, you'll hear so many what are they called? So many big words. It's like, oh, you should do affiliate marketing. Oh, you should do dropshipping. Oh, you should do crypto or NFTs. And I think kind of if you are starting, probably the most important thing is cutting out everything else and just focusing on like one sub niche.
Well, no, I think I disagree 100% right now, because if you look at like, say you look at like the 10 things that you could like, say just for instance, like 10 things you could look at. You just do like a little bit of research and see which one's viable for you, and then you hyper focus on one thing. Because like you can't just cut everything out without knowing. No,
of course you kind of got to educate. But like I kind of fell into this like a year ago or something. It would be like I would hear like, let's say affiliate marketing. Affiliate marketing, like passive income, like whatever it may be. And I get onto it and I do it for like 3 weeks. Yeah. And when I don't see results, I'm like, I'll switch to the next thing or to the next thing. Yeah. And it's not there's actually anything wrong with what I picked. It's just I haven't dedicated enough time to it. Yeah. And so that's kind of my point. You're gonna get like flooded with so much bullshit. Yeah. First, you kind of need to educate yourself. Say, okay, like what do you actually want to like go into? And then the most important thing is to just stick to it. Yeah. Like with this podcast, let's say, like it was kind of on that, but like we started the podcast, I bought all the equipment, and after like a month or two, I was like, I'm not super popular. Maybe we should stop it, or maybe we should switch to something else. And I realized I was like, that's all I've been doing. Like, all I've been doing is hopping. Like, I used to do drop shipping, and I've done a bit of affiliate marketing. I've just been hopping between things.
I think it's good you stopped drop shipping though.
Yeah, I mean that's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like, I kind of realized, like, I'm not going to be successful at all. I'm not going to build anything if I keep hopping between niches or like different avenues of wealth. And so that's kind of why, like, we're 17 episodes in, and we're gonna keep pumping out these episodes because it's and that like
Actually,
we're gonna keep improving.
18th, but
huh?
This is
this will be 18th. Yeah. But it's summary. Cut out all the bullshit. Learn what you need to learn. Hyperfixate on what you want to work on, and even if you don't see growth, even if you feel unmotivated, just remind yourself why you're starting.
If you can dream it, you can do it.
Oh, I didn't bring. We didn't get quotes.
That was my quote.
Do you have a quote?
Yeah, that was it.
Damn.
Guys, always remember, if you can dream it, you can do it. I reckon it's time we wrap this up. It's been a solid 36 minutes and 51 seconds so far.
I have one more point to make.
I reckon we can.
One more point. One more point.
Fuck you.
I haven't ever said this online, and I've talked to you about this a while ago, but you disagreed.
Be prepared to cut this.
Children are the best investment, and no one can change my mind on that. Children are the top tier investment. Let's break it down, guys. Break it down with me. Think about it. They're long term, right? And there is some risk. Okay, like your kid coming out as a deadbeat. But if you raise them properly and you know how to raise them, your kid can they can pay dividends in the long run. And that's what do you think of that, Cooper?
I think you know what I think of that, and you're just asking for me to argue with you.
Argue with me, Cooper.
Kids are not a good investment, all right? Not in comparison to anything else. You invest, I think it's around $200,000, right? Across, like, this is Australian, it doesn't really matter. Across their entire childhood until they fuck off, right? And that's 18 years. Not just that you have to make a monetary investment, but you also have to make an emotional investment to make sure that they don't just be like, oh, fuck you when they leave, right? And it's a lot to even say that they'd give you that much money back, 200,000. Sure, they pay you dividends in like emotional visits and stuff, but they're also a liability, right? What if they die? And they're never. No child is gonna pay their parents back like $200,000. No fucking way, right? Not no child, but you'd have to be pretty lucky.
This is what I think. I think
there's a 95% chance. I think there's a 95% chance that your investment doesn't pay off, right? And you have to be emotionally invested as well. It's not worth it.
It's high risk, high reward. Think about it. If you
raise your
if you have a kid and you raise them and you know how to raise them and you raise them right, and let's say like you teach them to be like a businessman or an entrepreneur, and you teach them all the right things, chances are they're going to make lots of money and be like, wow, I want to dedicate this to my parents, and then they're going to fucking retire you.
Yeah, okay. But why would you do that? Okay, at our age, right, we can retire ourselves.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, if I'm not a wealthy billionaire...
Shut up. All right. It's such high risk that it's not worth it because... like, the chances of them becoming incredibly successful and doing what you want them to do as well, you're like, yeah, I'll raise them to be a businessman. It's like, you can't guarantee they'll do that. There's a low chance they'll do it, and there's an even lower chance they'll be successful, and there's an even lower chance that they'll be successful enough to retire you and pay off the investment, right? $200,000 accounting for inflation, that means they've got to pay you back like $400K by the time they're 40, right? It's not realistic. And it's like, okay, that's just to pay it off. $400,000 when they're 40. Like, no one has that much money, right? Okay. And then if you want it to be like, oh yeah, high reward, no. You might get like a 100% gain. They give you $800K when they're 40, right? And what, you're 80 sitting on your deathbed? No.
Well,
unless you have kids now, but then you can't raise them properly, can you?
Think about, what if you have 6 kids? Now you have, 6 times 400K?
And now you're paying $1.6 million, or however much it is. 1.2.
Well,
or 1.4.
That is a risk I'm willing to take.
Fucking idiot.
And I'm going to have kids, and I'm going to raise them well, and then they're gonna make me lots of money.
All right, fair
And
enough.
then I'm gonna be old and rich and sad, and then I'm gonna die. But
Yeah.
this has been I actually really like this episode. So, you want an outro?
Yeah. So, catch you cool cats later. Peace out.
Low gang.
Yeah.
We love you, Low gang. Like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. People say that, but I don't think you'd
Hit
really
that
care.
notification bell. Drop a comment down below if you'd like to see more of this amazing content. Yeah, I reckon that's it. All right.
We hope you guys have an amazing day.
Yeah.
Peace out, home dog, home slice.